This is just a short little update video on what is going on with the Hookless situation that we all saw the crash at Tour of UAE and the Lotto rider who took the spill on the Hookless wheel and the Vittoria Corsa Pro tire. Basically, UCI has stepped in after all this kind of banter and kind of talkabouts and has said that UCI will perform urgent study of hookless rims and tubeless tires to address safety concerns for USI Pro Peloton Racing, which is mind-blowing. I didn't actually think that they would talk about this. I thought that Zip and Envy were such big juggernauts that I kind of look at it as almost like politics, to the point where I'm sure they have a say of what goes inside of the UCI equipment policy. But basically, this alone, and also all the other past instances with other hookless wheels popping off, and it always seems to be the hookless wheels always popping off. They're trying to figure out whether or not it's a safety hazard for the UCI Professional Pro Peloton. So basically, UCI came out and made a statement basically saying, in light of a series of recent incidents involving the use of hookless rims and tubeless tires, a combination commonly referred to as hookless, in a professional road cycling, the Union Cyclists International UCI has decided to study the situation as a matter of urgency with the view of taking a rapid decision in the interest of rider safety. So basically saying, is it necessary to have these wheels in there? There's a bunch of other riders out there. There's a bunch of other wheel companies out there. Basically saying for pro Peloton use only, because of the speeds, because of how fast they're going, does it really make sense to have this in there when it really doesn't give any true benefit to the rider? If it was to say, hey, with a hookless wheel, when you pair it with this tire, it makes it way more aerodynamic and it's way lighter and it's such a crazy benefit, but there's really no standing benefit compared to other hooked rims, and there's just a lot of negatives there. The measures will be communicated as soon as possible. The UCI shall continue to work closely with stakeholders of cycling, which I think I'll talk about that in just a second, and equipment manufacturers to ensure the appropriate measures are taken both in short and long term. This review and decisions that will follow the part of UCI's policy to promote rider safety, one of its major concerns. So back in the day, there used to be a ban on disc brakes when they first came out for UCI because of the fact that they were considered unsafe for pro Peloton. That the disc rotors, if there was a crash, could cut a rider, could always severely injure them, and they made their ways into there obviously after a while. So this right here though, the stakeholders of cycling and equipment manufacturers. Zip and Envy are two of the biggest hookless people out there, and also Cadix in terms of what their wheels are, and pretty much their whole lineups are all hookless. So I have to have a feeling that with UCI even discussing this, I'm sure they're going to ask Zip and Envy what this whole situation means to them. But I don't see them. Who knows? I mean, they could ban it in Pro Peloton. It would be crazy if that happened, because of the fact that literally Zip would have to make a specific Pro Peloton wheel with a hooked in there. People will say, oh, they'll have to change all of Zip's complete wheels. No, I probably think they'll still keep the hookless technology, but then they'll have to go back to making both versions, and they'll have to produce it for consumers, because wherever they give to the pros, they also have to offer the consumers to be able to buy. So I got a feeling that if that is the case, it's going to cost them a good amount of money, but that's why I think it should be. I made my video recently about this whole situation, about the wheels. I talked about it. I've talked about it multiple times in terms of my riders come into my store. Customers I know, I sell people Zips as well. I don't prefer to sell them Zips because of the fact of the hookless stuff, but there's always people who want the name brand, and obviously it's still a good looking wheel. But to me, it doesn't make any sense. The hookless is just always a manufacturer benefit. There is no upside to the consumer. They want to sit there and say that hookless is going to be, it's a lighter weight platform. It's more durable as well. It can handle more impact. But the only issues we ever see, well, not the only issues, but the majority of issues we see in the Pro Peloton are coming from hookless wheels with tire blow-offs. So there's just very, very little upside with a lot of downside, that you have to run a specific tire at a specific pressure with a specific wheel. They're always changing the tire widths on there as well, to nothing else. I did a group ride today. A bunch of people on Zip 404 hookless. Some work, and that's what the guy says. Everyone will always say, I have 19,000 miles on these wheels. I have 10,000 miles on the wheels. I've been running hookless for so long. In a recall situation or in something like this, not everything is going to fail. It doesn't mean that the whole product is complete crap. What it means is basically enough have gotten through the cracks to the point where it needs to be addressed for the safety of the consumer. Similar to the Shimano cranks, like I mentioned before, not every single Shimano 11-speed crank failed, but a ton did, to the point of where it needed to be addressed and they needed to take a look back at it. So yeah, I just don't think the hookless version makes sense to me. But anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. It's crazy me to see how much talk and how much banter went into this and how much spotlight this got, even enough to a point where UCI is going to step in and actually take a current study. I'll be watching this closely, see what happens there. Vittori also said during this crash that, you know, they said that it wasn't their platform, it wasn't their wheels, they followed all of the guidelines. I don't think it was. I think Vittori did a good job with the wheel size in there. But yeah, I think people say that it was an impact that caused the tire to fall off. Well, if you had a hook on the rim itself when that impact happened, it would still keep that entire wheel, usually that tire, on there because it's hooked into there with the bead on there. So you wouldn't have this blow off. So if you had an impact, the wheel would crack. I've seen a ton of cracked wheels on hooked rims where the tire stays on the bead because it's still in there. But with this one, it cracked. That little suction or sealant of the wire bead being hooked onto the rim on a hookless platform, it blew off right away. So that's what I'm saying. You can have impact with a hooked rim and the tire usually stays in place. But with this, you got to have so much technology just to get this thing right. And even that, you have to worry about tolerances of tire, tolerances of wheels. It's crazy to me. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Would you guys want UCI to ban this? I know there's a ton of zip riders out there, so who knows? We'll see what happens. But I'll talk to you guys next video.